Okay, so, hello, this is my presentation on building relationships. So let's talk about it and why we need to build relationships with our school, parents, and the community. So first, let's talk about adopting a program. We should adopt a relationship building social emotional development program. Everyone is working together with the same program. It'll be easier to see how everyone is doing. We can ask each other for help if we don't know how to implement something in our classroom that we're using from the program. Uniformity. We're all doing the same thing. We're all using the same program. Uniformity is very important for us to do. And we are all working together. Collaboration is very important. So let's speak about collaboration and why we need to implement SEL intervention in our school. So, starting off with why we need to implement SEL, evidence-based SEL intervention in our school. I think it's just important just to look at the research as to how it has helped other students in other schools. So SEL interventions that address the 5 core competencies increase students' academic performance by 11 percentile points compared to students who did not participate. So if we use it, the academic performance of our students will go up, and they'll be learning more, and they'll be engaged while they're learning as well. Students participating in SEL programs shows improved classroom behavior, and increased ability to manage stress and depression, and better attitudes about themselves, others, and school. This is another important reason why we need to implement it. We can help behavior issues in our class. It can help our students emotionally overall. And this is not only something that they're going to be using in school, they're going to be using at home and all throughout the rest of their adulthood. Additional meta-analysis echoed these findings. Consistency across independent research teams offer strong support that well-implemented SEL programs are beneficial. They've been proven to be beneficial and that they work. And since they show that they work and that there's research showing that they work, it's just beneficial to us and our students to implement it in our classrooms. Now moving on to collaboration strategies. One is to create a truly shared vision and goals. If we work together and we have a vision and we have goals set together, we can help each other with it. We just need to develop a sense of community. We are all one school. We are all, the students in classrooms are not just that teacher's students. They're all of our students. So we need to work together for all of our students, not just the students. And it doesn't just need to be the teacher in her or his classroom. It needs to be all teachers, all staff working together as a community. We need to identify group norms. We need to use discussion and dialogue, and we need to work through conflict together. Now let's talk about strategies we can implement in our school. And many of these we can start as soon as possible. So for self-awareness, there's mindfulness mediation. And with mindfulness mediation, mindfulness is the ability to focus on the present and accept the circumstances that person's going through right now. It's a self-awareness skill that can reduce stress and anxiety. To teach mindfulness in class, put on guided mediation recordings or read one aloud to your students. Encourage them to put their thoughts and feelings aside and focus on the mediation as much as they can. For the younger students, try simpler breathing exercises to help students develop mindfulness without overextending their attention span. And then also for self-awareness, we can do reflective writing. You can encourage a few prompts that reflect self-awareness, such as, when were they the happiest in their life, and why was it so happy? What is your wildest dream? Who is your best friend, and how do they make you feel? Why do you think it's important to be kind? What are some things you like and dislike about yourself? And then there's emotional vocabulary lists. There are great ways to help students to understand emotional cues. Include several words that describe emotions to your class vocabulary list, such as joyful or scared, anxious and nervous, anything like that. Whenever you introduce a new emotional vocabulary word, take time to discuss what it means and how students can recognize this feeling in themselves and in others. And for the older grades, try complex emotional vocabulary words like jubilant or apprehensive to broaden their emotional understanding, and so they're aware of more emotional words that they may not know, that the younger grades will not know about or what they are. So make sure that your vocabulary lists are good for the grade that you are teaching. And then there's self-management skills or strategies that we can implement. The first one that I have is grounding techniques. A few, for example, one would be name 5 different things you can see around the room. Another one is listen to energetic or relaxing music for 1 minute. You can hold an object in your hands and focus on the color or texture. Take 10 deep breaths, counting each one as your chest rises. Eat a piece of candy and choose 3 words that describe its taste. And then we have self-management party games, and some games such could be musical chairs, follow the leader, Red Rover, Mother May I, Simon Says. And then there's SMART Goal Challenge. The SMART goals must be specific, measurable, agreed upon, relevant, and time-bound. For responsible decision-making, there's class contrast. One way to encourage responsible decision-making is by collaborating with your students to create a classroom contrast. An effective classroom contrast should contain 2 things: your expectations as a teacher and your students' own hope and needs for the school year. You can do student council. Depending on your needs, you could involve the entire class in student council or have them elect representatives. By bringing your students in discussion and to discuss classroom needs and upcoming events, student councils can involve your class and school community while teaching them responsibility. And then a final responsible decision-making strategy is what would you do activity. And there are a few problem-solving scenarios you could get your students started with, such as while playing with your little brother, he accidentally breaks your favorite toy. What do you do next? You see a new girl playing by herself at recess. What do you say to her? Or you're eating a sugar cookie and your friend asks if he can have a bite. How do you respond? Anything like of what you do in our everyday lives. Ask them what would they do or respond or say to certain things in their everyday lives. For social awareness, classroom service projects. A few projects you could do is hold a clothing or books or canned food drive for a local shelter. It's a great way to involve the community. Visit a local nursing home as class. Clean up litter around your school or at a nearby park. Create care packages for families in need around the holidays. Raise money for your school or charity through a bake sale. Each of these are students are being more aware of their community and things around them, and they're also out there working with the community. There's also listening circles. A few ideas for them would be, where would you travel if you could go anywhere in the world? What makes you feel happiest? If you were an animal, which one would you be? Who do you look up to the most and why? When you grow up, what do you want to be? And then finally, for a social awareness strategy is diversity story time. There are a few children books about diversity, and one is It's Okay to Be Different by Todd Parr. Another one, The Skin You Live In by Michael Tyler and David Lee Siskiso. And then another one is Families, Families, Families by Suzanne Long. And Marisol McDonald Doesn't Match by Monica Brown. Depending on your grade range or an age group, there are diversity books for all sorts of grades and grade ranges and age groups. If you need help finding some, let someone know, let me know. We can all work together to find diversity stories for any grade that we need to. And then for relationship skills, make new friends bingo. This is a fun and interactive game that developing social skills, particularly verbal and nonverbal communication. And you can play it at the beginning of the school year or anytime you want to have a get to know you activity in your class. Team puzzle game. Put students into teams of 3 to 5 and give each one a jigsaw puzzle to put together. Instruct them on how to complete the puzzle and that they need to work together as a group. You can add a challenge to encourage teamwork, which is by giving your students a time limit for completing the puzzle. And then finally, conflict resolution read along. And then as you read your story, as you read the story to your students, ask them the following questions, such as what's the story's main conflict? What do the main characters want to happen? How can the characters work together to make everyone happy? There are a lot more strategies that can be implemented. These are just some strategies that I have. Now let's talk about steps that we should take. We need to find a program that works best for us, and we need to start implementing the program. We need to inform parents in the community that we want to have a relationship with all of them, and we want them involved in everything that we do. Inform the parents about what SEL is and why it's important for us to implement in our school. I honestly think that there are parents out there that have no idea what SEL is, and if we inform them, this is what we are doing in our school or implementing in our school, and this is why it's beneficial, they'll understand, and they're aware of what we are doing in school, which they should be aware. And we need to incorporate SEL in the classrooms every single day. SEL can be incorporated in any grade level with any age range. It can be incorporated in any subject. It can be even incorporated in PE and also such as math and English and science and social studies. SEL can be incorporated all over school. Now let's talk about what CASEL says about SEL. SEL advances educational equity and excellence through authentic school, family, community partnership to establish learning environments and experiences that feature trusting and collaborative relationships, rigorous and meaningful curriculum and instruction, and ongoing evaluation. SEL can address various forms of inequity and empower young people and adults to co-create thriving schools and contribute to safe, healthy, and just communities. And then these are references that I've used in my presentation. So yeah, thank you.